You ever walk outside in your pajamas, still half asleep, and suddenly feel like you've just stumbled into the world's strangest reality show? Yeah, that was me at 6:15 a.m., barefoot on my porch, staring at what looked like a scene out of a medieval war movie. There was a trench, a real, honest-to-God, moat-style trench, over 3 feet deep, carved all the way around my house. Dirt piled up like little mountains everywhere, perfect straight lines. Honestly, if it wasn't my own lawn, I might have applauded the craftsmanship. But all I could do was stand there in my robe, clutching the newspaper, whispering, "What the actual hell happened here?" Let me back up a sec, because the sheer insanity of it just begs for context. Just last night, everything was normal. I'd done my usual walk to the mailbox, checked the porch light, waved at Mrs. Patterson across the fence. No weird construction noise, no warning signs, no permits on poles, nothing. But while I slept, dead to the world for 6 hours, someone turned my family's property into a fortress. Not a soul heard a thing. No engines, no shouting, nothing to wake even the world's lightest sleeper. And yet, in the cold morning air, the tracks from professional excavators were all over my yard. Diesel fumes still lingering, hydraulic stains on the grass, surveyor's stakes lined up like a row of middle fingers. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I'd swear it was some elaborate prank. Only, this was no prank. First thing I did, I called 911, hands shaking. I tried to sound sane as I told the dispatcher, someone dug 4-foot deep trench around my entire house, overnight. She sounded, honestly, like she thought I'd been fighting with the neighbor's dog, maybe a little off my rocker. Promised to send someone in a couple hours. Meanwhile, I started knocking on doors. Mrs. Patterson next door, Mr. Anderson across the street. Even the Williams family at the corner. Every single person looked me dead in the eye and said they'd heard nothing. Nothing. Not a peep. Some even used the exact same words. If you want to talk about creepy, that right there is what did it for me. 8 people, all within spitting distance, all with the same story, like they'd practiced it. Now, my mind was racing. This wasn't some kids out joyriding in a bobcat. Whoever did this had real skills. Perfect property lines, survey grade measurements, every angle sharp and exact. I walked the perimeter, spotted tire tracks from 4 vehicles, burn marks from ropes on the old oak, even little circles in the grass where portable lights had stood. The whole thing reeked of military precision. But then it hit me, my cameras. See, after months of escalating friendly pressure from our new HOA president, I'd installed a security system, 12 hidden night vision cameras, overlapping every corner of the property. That spring, Rebecca Thompson moved into the biggest house on Maple Street, threw herself a coronation as HOA president, and within weeks started a campaign to bring the whole neighborhood up to her vision. My place? That was Exhibit A in her slideshow at the first HOA meeting. She actually put up pictures of my home on the projector, red arrows pointing at my faded fence, my old-school mailbox. And then, straight-faced as a judge, told the whole room, "Your home simply doesn't fit our vision for this community. We have a buyer ready. Think about it." Well, I did think about it. For about half a second. Then I told her in front of everyone, my family's owned this place 40 years. My father built it. My mother planted those trees. I'm not selling to anyone, least of all some anonymous buyer you cooked up. Rebecca's smile stayed plastered on, but there was this cold glint in her eyes, like she'd just lost at poker, but wasn't finished playing. From there, it got ugly, letters demanding 50 grand for zoning modifications, daily drone flights over my yard, property tax adjustments tripling my bill, anonymous surveyors popping up with tape measures, snapping photos, always just doing city business. But the city had no record of any of it. The pressure was unrelenting. My neighbors, who'd been friends for years, suddenly went cold. Mrs. Patterson wouldn't wave, Mr. Anderson pretended he couldn't see me, and the Williams kids wouldn't set foot near my place. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, felt like the whole world was gaslighting me. So I got those cameras, buried the wires, set the cloud back up, hoping I was just being paranoid. Turns out, I wasn't nearly paranoid enough. That morning after the trench, I ran inside, booted up the computer, and started pulling footage. 12 camera angles, 6 straight hours of 4K video, audio sharp enough to hear a mouse sneeze. My heart was pounding. And there it was, timestamp, 11:47 p.m., 2 unmarked vans and a pickup roll up, parking in formation at the end of the street. 8 people, 8, hopped out, all in dark clothes, all moving like they'd practiced this. No stumbling, no arguing, just pure efficiency. One of them? Rebecca Thompson herself. That's right, the queen of the HOA, out here at midnight, giving orders like a general. Make sure it's deep enough to damage the foundation, she said, clear as day. He'll be forced to sell rather than deal with months of repairs and insurance battles. You ever feel your blood turn to ice? That was me, watching the supposed upstanding community leader plotting to destroy my home on camera. They worked for hours, excavator buzzing quietly, acoustic barriers up, portable lights everywhere. They even used radio headsets and brought in tarps to hide their work from anyone driving by. The audio caught Rebecca laying out the whole plan. Timeline pressures, code enforcement backup, even a developer lined up to swoop in and buy the land for a song once I gave up. What killed me wasn't just the damage. It was realizing how much planning, money, and city help had gone into it. The crew wasn't just some guys with tools. They were professionals, probably ex-military or law enforcement. And Rebecca? She didn't just orchestrate it. She bragged about her connections to building inspectors and city hall. If this doesn't work, we have friends who can get the place condemned, she told her contractor. Now, while I was piecing all this together, there was a weird moment on camera 12. Right at 3:15 a.m., Rebecca paused, looked straight at the hidden lens, and then the feed went dark for almost a minute. When it came back, they were moving faster like they'd realized they might be on tape, but had no time to do anything about it. That sent chills down my spine. Do they know? Did I have enough to stay safe? By dawn, I'd cataloged dozens of violations. Trespassing, property destruction, conspiracy, extortion, municipal corruption, you name it. Rebecca's voice was everywhere, explaining, in her own words, why they needed to make the damage look like an accident. Insurance fraud, for sale, development money. She spelled it all out. And her loyal crew? One of them, a young guy, kept questioning her. Mrs. Thompson, are you sure insurance will cover this? What if something goes wrong? She shut him down cold, but it was clear he wasn't comfortable. Maybe a crack I could use later. With all this evidence, I started building a case, organized files, transcribed key audio, grabbed before and after photos. I wasn't just aiming for property damage. I wanted conspiracy, racketeering, federal time. I decided to call Sheriff Williams, the one guy in the county known for busting up white-collar crime. Told him straight. I have video evidence of a coordinated criminal conspiracy led by Rebecca Thompson. I need you here. He showed up in half an hour, took one look at the trench, and just muttered, Jesus Christ. But when he saw Rebecca on tape, his whole attitude changed. This is in a federal court, he said, dialing the DA. We're talking organized racketeering, municipal corruption, the works. Within hours, the feds were involved. They prepared search warrants, lined up simultaneous arrests, even planned to take Rebecca down publicly at the next HOA meeting. Poetic justice, if you ask me. The night of the meeting, I sat in the back row, heart thumping as Rebecca called everyone to order, all polished and confident, talking about community safety. Sheriff Williams and the feds came in, read out the charges, and showed everyone the videos. The look on Rebecca's face, first outrage, then sheer terror, was priceless. Mrs. Patterson started crying, Mr. Anderson just stared, and people realized they'd been played by a master manipulator. As they cuffed Rebecca, her empire crumbled right there. Over the next few weeks, the case exploded, federal indictments, city officials arrested, the HOA dissolved, and my property restored at their expense. The news ran the story for days. HOA president orchestrates midnight siege, caught on camera. The best part? That young contractor, the one who'd questioned Rebecca, ended up flipping, testifying about the whole scheme, leading investigators to even more victims and criminal connections in other towns. Meridian Development got shut down, its assets seized. My neighborhood? Slowly, folks came around, apologizing for staying silent, bringing over casseroles, sharing cookies. Even Mrs. Patterson helped plant the memorial garden in the spot where the trench once ran. A real symbol that community means more than a self-appointed queen with a hunger for power. So yeah, I won, but not because I outfought them. I outprepared them. Evidence, patience, and a little faith in justice carried the day. Sometimes, all you need is to keep the cameras rolling, trust the truth, and wait for arrogance to trip itself up. Now, the question I keep asking myself, and the one I'll throw out to you, is this: what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Would you have fought back, or just walked away? How far should we go to defend our homes when the very people who claim to protect us turn out to be the villains? Drop your thoughts down below. Tell me your stories, your worst HOA nightmare, or just how you think justice ought to look in a world like ours. And hey, if you believe property rights matter, or if you've ever faced down your own Rebecca, hit that subscribe button. Let's make sure no one like her ever wins again.